Hello ear trainers! It's Naama Alon with Ear Training for the Soul, the place to train your ears to transcribe soul, jazz, blues, R&B, and some other stuff. I want to talk in this lesson about how to start building your chord progression recognition skill in a way that will enable you to do it both successfully and fast. To explain this, I'll first answer a quiz that I uploaded yesterday to this channel about chord progressions. After you understand what this quiz demonstrates, I'll explain how you can develop the skill of figuring out chord progressions in the most effective way. So, the quiz was about figuring out which one of the 4 chord progressions I play is the exception. If you haven't seen it and want to do the quiz, please pause this video and watch it before you continue to watch this lesson, because I'm going to explain the answer to it now. So there were 4 chord progressions. They were all in major scale. 2 of them were in the same scale, C major, 1 in D major, and 1 in G major. But there was one chord progression that was different from the rest. The only way you can understand which one it is by hearing where the progression is going, or in other words, to which scale degree it leads you. Remember, we are in the functional harmony land, which means that every scale degree has a specific part in pushing the music forward, or not moving it at all. When you start listening to chord progressions through this lens, you'll begin to recognize the places you go to in the song's harmony and the ways you can get there. Let's review the 4 chord progressions to figure out what is going on there from this perspective and which chord progression is the exception. Progression number 1 is taken from the best part. It's a progression in D major scale. It starts with a first degree chord, also known as the tonic, the D major, in this case, the D major 7 chord. Then we have the A minor chord, which is not very stable in this context. By default, the A minor 7 is not one of the D major scale chords because it was created by altering one note from the D major scale. The C sharp in D major scale changed to C to create this chord. When we hear the next chord, the G major 7, we feel we have reached a stable point. I play the 3 chords so you can listen to them in a context. So here we feel in the G major 7 that we reach some kind of a stable point. When you hear the progression in context, you hear that we move from the 1st degree to the 4th degree in a major scale. We got there through the A minor 7th chord, which is not part of the D major scale. The following chords are B flat major chord and B flat major 7/6 chord. We can view them both as B flat major chord because the 6 is just an added color to the major 7. This is the major 7 and this is the B flat major 7 with a 6. Like the A minor 7 chord, this chord is not originally from the D major scale. It's taken from the D minor scale. I don't want to get too much into details about that. It's not important for this lesson. The only important thing is to notice that it creates tension resolved by playing the 1st degree again, the D major 7th chord. If we sum the path of the first chord progression, we can say that we have a move from the 1st degree to the 4th degree and then back to the 1. The second chord progression is taken from Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow and million other songs. Here we are in the key of C major. The progression starts with the 1 chord, C major triad. Then it moves to the 4th degree, the F major 7 chord, played like this many times without the 3rd, but you can play also the F major 7 chord, and then it goes to some kind of a G sus chord, which is the 5th degree. This is F chord over G, so it feels like the 5th degree of the scale, suspended and going to the 5th degree. The sound of the 5th is suspended by playing the F over G. If we sum the path of the 2nd chord progression, we can say that we have a move from the 1st degree to the 4th degree and then back to the 1. 1st degree to the 4th degree, 5th degree, leads us back to the 1. Let's see what happens in the 3rd chord progression. Here we are in the key of G major. The 1st chord is the 1st degree of the scale. By the way, it's not always like that. Please don't assume that the 1st chord in the song is always the 1st degree of the scale and therefore it's the scale's name. If you want to learn how to find in which scale the song is, I made a special video answering this question and I'll link to it here above me, so you can check it out. Back to the 3rd progression. It's taken from If I Ain't Got You. We have G major 7th chord, going to A minor 7th chord, which is the 2nd degree in G major scale. Then we have B minor 7th chord, which is the 3rd degree in the G major scale. Then again, the A minor 7th chord, and back to the 1, the G major 7th chord. The 1st degree and the 3rd are the most stable ones. The 2nd degree is less stable and pushes the harmony from the 1st to the 3rd degree. Listen again and try to feel it. To sum up this move, we have a progression from the 1st degree to the 3rd degree and back to the 1. You've probably noticed that I'm always thinking about the stable point in the progression when I'm talking about to where I'm moving, which chords the progression leads us to. That's the most important thing for me. It helps me to outline the chord progression and as a result, identify it much faster than if I wouldn't do that. We reached the last chord progression, number 4, taken from Love on Top, among many other songs. We are again in a C major scale. The 1st chord is the 1st degree, a C major triad. Then we have this chord, which is G flat 7 flat 5. It feels very unstable because it's not part of the chords that we have in C major scale, and it pushes us through the F major chord. Then again we have the same chord that we already have, the F with G in the bass, which is kind of a G sus chord. And then we have this moving bass line with octaves, which is A flat. It's not originally in C major scale. This is just the bass of the 5th degree. And then the 1st degree, the C major triad. What is this progression outline? It's the 1st degree going to the 4th degree and then returning to the 1, to the 1st degree. The other chords here, the F with G in the bass and the A flat bass going to G, are unstable and function as tension creators aiming to push the progression forward. Have you figured out the quiz answer by now? Yes, it's number 3. It's the only progression that doesn't lead to the 4th degree in any way. I don't know if answering this was easy for you or not, but I can guarantee one thing. This is not a difficult thing to do. It's a skill that you can absolutely develop by practicing. The smart way to do that is gradual. Don't expect to transcribe all the possible chord progressions in the major key after 6 months of practice. Start with building a solid hearing base by practicing only the progressions from the 1st degree and back. A good list to start with can include the following progression: 1 5 1, 1 4 1, 1 4 5 1, 1 2 1, 1 2 5 1. And if you want to learn how to practice basic progressions in a way that will help you program them in your ears so you can recognize them whenever you hear them, I have a free guide just for this purpose. It has practices, song examples, and a step-by-step process to help you learn any chord progression you want to identify in the most effective way. I'll link to the guide in the description below. I hope that you find this lesson helpful. As always, if you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments below, and I would love to answer them. And remember this, you should think of transcribing music like the famous quote from Alice in the Wonderland. If you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there. Because if you can't hear where the progression is leading you to, any path in the song's harmony is possible. You have to know where it is going to if you want to recognize the correct progression. We'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday.